Stay tuned. This is Time on the Water. Welcome back to another episode. We are here with Buzz. We're going to be talking about Castaic Lake today. Castaic is a pretty big component in the California freshwater fishery, especially in the Southern California region. Buzz does a ton of fishing in Castaic Lake, well versed in just about everything there. We wanted to pick his brain about the striper, the largemouth, the smallmouth, trout, and anything in between, and what to use, how to rig it, where to go about it.
Let's do it.
So I know you fish Castaic Lake. That's one of your lakes outside of Pyramid. I guess, if you were to go right now, what is your breakdown? What's your rod, reel, and the bait you're choosing?
I would have a small variety, but if I was gonna hit Castaic right now, I'd probably have like a 7-foot medium light spinning rod. I'd have probably a medium action bait caster, and I'd have a big heavy swim bait rod. That's pretty much going to cover everything you're going to come across right now at Castaic, because they're going to be feeding on real tiny stuff right now, and they're putting trout in, so those bigger fish are going to be targeting the bigger meal. Definitely throwing a big bait is going to help you draw the bigger fish out of a school. I recently caught a striper pushing 22 pounds, and it was in a school of 5 to 10 pound striper, and I was not expecting to catch a fish that big. But I casted a big bait, and maybe that big bait was just a little too much for those smaller fish, but it was the perfect size for that big one. So it's always worth it to throw a big bait. I always start off with the big bait. When I pull up to a spot, I throw the big bait first. You don't want to be casting a bunch of small baits, letting the big fish know that you're there before you offer that big meal.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think of that. That's something also you hear in saltwater. A lot of the little fish will reach the bait in saltwater before the larger fish, but also if you're throwing something larger, the little fish won't be able to get hooked, so they'll actually pick and hit at the larger bait, which will trigger the larger fish to go, okay, the little fish can't get this one, or they've wounded it, they've hurt it, they've stunned it, I'm going to come in for the kill. And that's technically will weed out those smaller fish and can potentially present you with 22 Gosh, 22-pound striper right there. But what are you looking for conditions for largemouth?
Largemouth, I like some cloud cover. I think that gets them feeding longer. They like that low light, it seems. They definitely take advantage of the low light to prey on fish. So when you have a nice cloudy overcast day, they're pretty much always cruising looking for fish, bait fish to eat. So it's a good time to target them. For the striper and stuff like that, they like some weather. I've done really good on rainy days. Pretty much the nastier it is, the more I want to go, the bigger baits I want to throw. It's nice, kind of keeps the crowd away too. It helps to go there at off times. I'd recommend going and putting your time on the water when you don't hear about the bite being good. I caught that 22-pound striper, and I was the only one on the shoreline. Everyone kind of had already left and went home. So it pays to be out there when no one else is.
It's also a great way to learn your fishery. It's just spending the time. That allows you to break down where, what, how to fish. Also, asking the locals. Last time I went to Castaic, I went through the line to get in, and I started asking everybody, hey, what are you fishing today? What are you throwing? I'm kind of new to the area. A common bait that was said amongst them all was a small creature, and what they like to do is actually tip a green pumpkin with the chartreuse pens that they like to do. They like to throw it on the Carolina rig and the Texas rig. I will have to say, as a novice at Castaic, I proceeded to catch 3 or 4 of my largest largemouth bass there. So a good thing to do is always just ask the shop, ask anyone in line. If one person's not willing to share, there's a good chance another one will.
Absolutely. Most people are going to be willing to help you out. Most people are cool. So just ask questions, put your time in, and you're going to be catching fish. Absolutely.
It's also a big lake, so a lot of people don't mind sharing what may or may not be working. What's working here, what might not be working over there. So it's just good. Build up the confidence to talk to people and fishermen. So Buzz mentioned the split shot rig. I was actually incorrect in calling it the Carolina rig. Similar, but We're gonna have Buzz break it down.
You know, split shot rig is kind of used like a general term. Some of it really is a Carolina rig with a sliding sinker. You want to go small on those. I like 1/8 ounce or lighter, just so it comes over and through the cover easier. You can kind of drag it through all the rocks because castaic is heavy in rocks. You know, I like a long leader on it to keep the bait away from the weight. I like 3-4 feet sometimes. It helps to be on a boat. It helps to be on a boat to kind of be able to get your line out there far, you know, with that long leader and just drag it real slow along. That's a killer at castaic. With creature baits, you could put small little minnow baits like this one right here. Something like that on the split shot rig would kill.
What pound test are you usually running for the largemouth in castaic?
You know, if I'm going finesse, I start off around like that 6 pound range. Sometimes I'll go lighter if it's real tough, but 6 pound I feel real comfortable getting the fish out of the rocks and stuff. It's a little more abrasion resistant. I'll go all the way up to the big baits. I'll be throwing 20, 25, 30 pound for striper.
Man, you heard it here. All right, we wish you guys the best luck at castaic if you're fishing, and if you do catch anything, let us know if this video helped.
Good luck to you guys.
Get all your tackle at Bob Sands.